Everyone wants to be loved, right? We all seek some kind of satisfaction. A lot of that satisfaction, particularly in human relationships or even with animals, comes from feeling loved or from loving as well. Love is only four letters word, but what is love? This is a very broad question, and I'm sure that everyone will answer it differently. Some would say that love is giving, love is sacrifice, love is dedication, or love is trust. But no matter what the answers are, I feel like it's all about giving out of yourself. It's wanting other people to be genuinely happy. Often, when we talk about the word happy, we think it means doing nice things and feeling good. Our notion of love is often self centered. And what does it mean? We look at love from the perspective of what we can get from a person. How do they make me feel? Do they make me feel happy or not? This is why we suffer in relationships. When we only want someone to make us feel good and then suddenly they don't, we feel like we don't love them or they don't love us anymore, right? And when our relationships with our family, partner, or whoever become difficult, it is often because we don't actually love. We don't love people as much as we think we do. I know it can be painful to acknowledge because we often believe, especially with family and friends, that we truly love them. In some ways, we do, of course. We want them to be happy, and we feel happy when good things happen to them, yet those mental states can also be very fragile. We've all thought we had this love for someone before, romantic relationships being the prime example. Then something happens, and all of a sudden, our love for them completely disappeared. What that situation showed us was that we didn't really love them. Sometimes we underestimate what it takes to love, to be someone who genuinely loves. Happiness is not just a kind of pleasure or feeling good. Getting a massage feels great, but that feeling wears off, right? It's the same with our relationships and everything that we do for those happy feelings. We all know that it doesn't last forever. Love is wanting other people to be happy. We may wish them genuine happiness, but it's also understanding that what we normally might think of as happiness is not what most people associate with. So, what you are wishing them is actually liberation from suffering. However, this may seem like it's not love, but think about it. Sometimes immature beings, just like children, don't listen. They put themselves in all sorts of dangerous and risky situations. And at those times, parents might have to adapt harsher methods of instruction out of love. To unknowing eyes, it might not look very loving. We think love is such a light word, but in reality, it's not. The issues regarding attachment, suffering, or conditional love are fundamental to the human condition. The obvious example is a loving mother who represents as close as possible unconditional love, someone who wants the best for another being, someone who does not want the children to suffer. However, not everyone has a great loving mother. That kind of loving state is in itself a way to connect with the ultimate nature, or which is often referred to as being in union with emptiness. Yes, it contains those qualities of love, joy, compassion, but without any egoism. It's more about just being love. Love is about giving without expecting anything in return and wishing for the genuine, lasting happiness of others, including liberation from suffering. It's about transcending our self centered desires and connecting with a deeper, more profound state of being. Of course, as humans, we want love, we want to give love, and we want to be loved. But love is the capacity to take care, to protect, to nourish. If you are not capable of generating that kind of energy toward yourself, it is very difficult to take care of another person. We may have a habit within ourselves of looking for happiness elsewhere than in the here and now. When you realize that the true nature of the self is non self, you understand that your happiness and suffering depend on the happiness and suffering of others. This realization helps you avoid doing things that will bring suffering to yourself and to other people. If you can help your son suffer less, then you, as a mother, will suffer less. You understand that happiness and suffering are not individual matters. You see the nature of interconnectedness, and you know that to protect yourself, you have to protect the human beings around you. Once you have the insight of non self, you also gain the insight of impermanence. Then what you say, what you think, what you do will be guided by that concept, and you will avoid making mistakes and creating suffering. When you discover something in the beginning, you discover only a part of it. Then if you continue, you have a chance to discover more. Finally, you discover the whole thing. When you love, if your love is true, you begin to see that the other person is a part of you and you are a part of them. In that realization, there's already non-self. If you think that your happiness is different from their happiness, then true happiness cannot be obtained. And as you progress on the path of insight into non-self, the happiness brought to you by love will increase. When people love each other, the distinction, the limits, the frontiers between them begin to dissolve, and they become one with the person they love. There's no longer any jealousy or anger, because if they are angry at the other person, they are angry at themselves. No one has ever found the always in love, because as I said earlier, that how you see love is not how the other person may see it. Their definition of love may be different from yours. Most people marry with the primary intent of satisfying their own needs. You want someone who can take care of you, be there for you, someone with whom you can share everything. There is nothing wrong with this. It's just that it's a little impractical at times. Why? Because one day he or she will get tired, and when they get tired, they'll look for other avenues of happiness and joy. They'll seek a place where they can rest. Love requires to see beyond ourselves and to embrace the interconnectedness of all beings. It challenges to nurture and protect not only those we love, but also ourselves. Through true love, we dissolve the boundaries between self and others, finding a deeper, more enduring happiness that transcends the nature of individual desires. Loving someone is not about changing them, but accepting the change that comes into your life with their entry. Love makes no attempt to make the other person want what you want. That is best left to possessiveness and ego. To love means to find out what matters to the other person, to appreciate their efforts, and to care about what they care about. This shows understanding. It shows respect. It is love. For loving someone is not possible without understanding them first. To love someone the way you want to love them is not really love. To truly love means to love them the way they want to be loved. If you are loving him or her the way you like to be loved, then you may not be loving them at all. You may just be giving love according to your perspective. Saying I love you has no meaning if you don't know what matters to the one you love, if you have not cared to find that out, or if you can't support them in what they care about. You are mistaking attachment for love. It shouldn't be I love you then. Instead, it should be I want you. I want you because you fulfill certain needs of mine. I want you because you make me feel a certain way. Let me ask you again. Does love really mean that you will always be happy in the relationship? No. Love means that you share your joys and sorrows, that you grow together and accept the vulnerability that comes with being in love. You will get hurt at times and you will be unhappy sometimes. In any relationship, you must take responsibility for your own actions. The other person is not responsible for making you feel happy and good all the time. While love is about being yourself, it is not so at the cost of the other person. Love only knows care, it only knows service, and ultimately, it only understands freedom. For freedom is the only emotion that completes you eventually, that makes you feel human. It is utterly liberating because, let me tell you, out of everything you can have in this world, what people want the most is not love, friendship, or wealth. What they want is freedom. It's priceless. People acquire wealth so they may have the freedom to do a lot of things. Even the most insecure or possessive people who cling to someone do that so they may feel free to be however they want to be with that person. At the end, love is not about possession or control. It is about understanding, respect, and freedom. It is about accepting the other person for who they are and supporting them in their journey. True love liberates both the lover and the beloved, allowing them to grow and flourish together.